Okay, things look good. All right. We're on in three, two, one, action. Excellent. Welcome, my friends. My name is Joshua
Thank
Marcos
you. Thank you.
Munoz, and I'm here with Professor Matt Perlstein. And we are together here to start this podcast. We are Peace, a Pathway to Peace. And we're working on different subtitles and such, but the whole idea here in this podcast is to work towards engaging and talking about emotional intelligence, my angle, spiritual intelligence, and talk about my background as a hypnotherapist and the whole positive mental health world, breath work, yoga, qigong. This whole podcast is going to revolve around talking about these tools to navigate and help us grow and become better people for ourselves and others. And to, what is it? Peace, right? Starts within. And so
Yeah.
we want to work towards creating world peace, right? So what do you think, Matt?
Yes, we're starting with inner peace. And
Mm,
so Dalai Lama said global peace begins with inner peace. And I'm saying that inner peace begins with emotional intelligence and learning to be able to handle your inner world. Because if we can
yes.
deal with ourselves better, we can deal with other people better. And maybe someday we can have big peace. Maybe. Give it a try,
Yes,
right?
I like that. So there's a difference between like small piece and then big piece, right? Is that
Yeah.
something nice, wonderful?
Yep.
And so we're going to be talking about different subject matters that are in the positive mental health world. And we want to speak to our audience and kind of relate and see, who is this for? And in one sense, it's for everyone, right? We all want peace because we want to move towards what makes us happy, right? We want happiness. And then from my perspective too, we want to know what is truly going to make us happy, what is truth and what is valuable, right? And so this also speaks to teachers, to professionals in the mental health field, psychologists and volunteers, and just people who are looking for tools. And I'm very much about creating practical tools. And we're going to be talking about so many different aspects of mental health and different just power tools for the mind and the heart, as we've talked about before, right? So,
Nice.
who else do you think this kind of podcast is speaking to?
Well, it's clearly for everybody because everybody has thoughts and everybody has feelings and everybody has to manage their inner world. So it clearly for
That's right.
everybody, but we're not supposed
Yeah.
to market to everybody because you're not supposed to do that. I would say people who are actively involved and actively looking for tools and power tools to
Yeah.
make things
Mhm.
better inside of them. So
Yeah.
whether you're doing that for you, whether you're doing it to help other people better because it feels really good to help and to give to live, we call it a professional, or you're just wanting more and learning more, you have such good information. I think
Mhm.
we have some really good news for people. I think it's really good news that
Good
we
news
are
for
in
sure.
charge of our own selves, that we are in charge of our inner world, and that we
Yes.
can make things better inside of us if we know how. We have all the tools we need, or
Totally.
we have all the resources we need. We just don't need
Resources.
to know how to use
That's
them.
right.
We're going to be
Wonderful.
educational.
Yes, we'll be sharing that. We'll be talking about certain subject matters from certain podcasts. We'll also have guests on who are teachers in their own right and facilitators of different tools to create growth, to create inner peace and outer peace, right? And I really like the saying too, is like to go within or go without. So it's
Yeah,
really a
that's good.
matter of connecting with those inner resources that we all have within us. And then also giving a language to it, giving words and giving permission for people to explore that for themselves, right? We've often just kind
Nice.
of pigeonhole ourselves or ideas socially, culturally, with like, you can only think or be this way. And then there's no realm of other possibilities. And so giving a language to peace, to inner peace, and we can talk about now a little bit more about our background and our own experience. So, just first of all, tell me where you are right now, Matt, and a little bit about yourself and your experience in teaching emotional intelligence. You're also an author and a presenter and a professor. I've gone around the
Yep.
world, different parts of the world.
Yep.
And yeah, so tell us a
Recently,
little bit about that.
recently. Okay. I'm currently in Fort Bragg, California, on the left coast of above San Francisco. The water is ocean's right over there on the other side of those trees. We lived here for about 20 years, and I've been working with emotional intelligence and teaching it for almost 40 years now. Almost 40 years.
Mhm.
I've taught now like at 44 different colleges and universities, mostly in
Wow.
Asia. We have a nonprofit called EQ for Peace. You'll see that in my thing right here. And what we're trying to do is get emotional education into schools everywhere, into people, into
Mm.
schools, especially everywhere. We just got back from a trip to Nepal and India and
Yeah,
Egypt, and it was
Egypt.
fantastic. One of the reasons we went all the way over there is that people in Asia, it turns out, actually are interested in learning about this and what we call they know that they don't know, especially the schools. They know that this is really important that we learn about emotions because we don't learn from our parents. We don't learn from school usually. We better not deal with them at work.
Yeah.
And so where are we supposed to learn this stuff? So they know that there's a problem that they know that they don't know, and they know that they want to know. And so they're asking me and they're asking us to help, please, please. And so that's why we're doing stuff like this and why we're traveling the world and we're doing all these classes, videos, whatever we can do to help people because people have no idea how to deal with their emotions. A lot of people have never had a
Mm.
conversation about their emotions in their entire life
Right.
directly
Yeah.
about like fear and anger
Yeah.
and sadness and stuff.
So
And
this is
so that's what I'm
definitely
all
this.
on about.
So this is about giving that permission, as I was talking about before. And it's
Yes.
interesting that you said that in India and in different parts of the world, Nepal, Egypt, that you've given presentations. It's like they've come to the
Bangladesh.
point where they know that they don't know, right? And so they're like there
Yes.
are these four stages of knowing. There's unconscious incompetence, right? So you don't know
Yes.
what you don't know, and then so you
Yep.
reach the point to okay, second step, you know what you don't know, right?
There you go.
That's conscious incompetence. And then you move to the next stage. And then you know what you know and don't know. And then you the conscious competence.
Find out.
And then as you continually to learn, you're conscious about your competence. And then you can go to a stage of unconscious competence where then you just live what you're
Mhm.
talking about, right? So I'll speak a little bit about myself. I'm here currently in Hyderabad, India, South India, and I'm very much influenced by the yoga perspective, yoga philosophy, Vedanta, as what I call Vedic psychology. My background is in hypnotherapy. I have over 15 years in studying and just teaching self-hypnosis to people of all kinds from all over the world, smoke cessation programs or stress management or just even just discovery and regression. I'm a regression specialist in that sense. And I'm also a breathwork facilitator, and I'm very, very much big on tools, on, like I said, power tools for the mind, and creating practical practices that enable one to become more emotionally intelligent and moving towards body intelligence and then also spiritual intelligence. So, as a breathwork facilitator, my background is also in psychology, transpersonal and humanistic psychology, where we get into the realms of different layers of conscious experiences, of the subconscious kind of understanding of who we are, and then the superconscious, and then beyond in so many aspects. And so I'm also familiar with Qigong and a part of coaching. And I really love coaching men, and especially young men who are looking to figure things out in their life and putting things together. So Matt and I
Right.
are a part of a men's group, and we've gotten together and we have very similar interests. And so here we are creating a podcast that is moving us towards a pathway for peace. And so with that, that's my background, and we're going to be creating more and more episodes that are specific to giving you the tools practices to engage with yourself, teach yourself, and also others, especially others, right? We're going to train the trainers. I really like the idea of teaching the teachers. And so this podcast is all about really narrowing down and talking about how to create that for ourselves and help teach that to others. And so we can move into some subject matters that we are very familiar with. Give it a little bit of an overview of what our favorite subject matters are to talk about. And then also, we're going to have very interesting guests to interview and to talk about their experiences in creating inner peace in their life and then moving outward to creating peace in the global effort, right? So go ahead, Matt, share a little bit about emotional intelligence and where that can speak to a lot of people.
Well, as I mentioned, it applies to everybody. You got emotions. We have a lot of people don't even realize this, that you have emotion, you have thoughts, and you have feelings all day long, 24/7, 365. You got thoughts and you got feelings, and they're happening. And we know about our thoughts. That's what we kind of deal with in schools, and that we concentrate on. We're left brain centered society, but we don't know that much about our emotions, and that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. It's very uncomfortable. It makes
Yeah.
us so we're not really in charge of our lives. It makes it so that we don't know how to manage ourselves. It's actually dangerous because people that don't
Mm.
know that their emotions are affecting them
Running them.
do some really stupid things. Even really smart people do really stupid
Mm.
things because their emotions get
Hmm.
out of control, that kind of thing.
Right,
So
right,
it's super
right.
important, in my opinion.
Excellent. Yeah, and so learning these tools can help just become more aware of where we're at. Even as you just said, that in Western cultures, there's a big push towards intelligence, towards even an AI.
That's fine. We
Right.
need
And then
that.
we just need to kind of be aware of who we
And
are as a whole person, as a human. And then my
right.
background in hypnotherapy is about teaching people how about what is the subconscious mind, right? Being the seat of our intelligence, being the seat of our memories, of our imagination, and of our emotions, right? So within that it becomes the roots of who we really are, and that's
Mm.
coming out, and it's coming out somehow or other, either consciously or unconsciously, and it drives us. And even in neurobiology, I was just reading a book, which is like considering the conscious critical factor of the mind, the frontal lobes, and then the bottom up mind, which is the emotional mind, which is like we're driving our desires, our motivations, and our deepest core drives. And so
Mm.
we want to be able to like notice when we're triggered and when we're either we're talking or we're thinking and we're acting from our top down mind or our bottom up mind. And so we'll
Mm.
use these terms and these ideas that are more and more in the positive mental health space that I'm a part of, and the coaching that I do and involved with working
Mm.
with people.
So the conclusion, the actionable items for food, I want to keep going. Like you said, we want practical
Mm,
tools. So our emotions
totally.
matter. That's nice. What I suggest for you, listener, is that you put more priority on them, that you take some of your judgment off of your feelings about that they're a bad thing and put more that they're actually more important than you ever imagined, is what we're finding out. And study after study after study is showing how much your emotions affect you. Change your mind about them, change some of the judgments about it, and actually prioritize them a little bit and try to find out some more about yourself and go inside and listen and learn about your emotions. Feel what you feel and try to identify them. Try to at first take the judgment off. At first, and like, all right,
So
they're all right.
so how would that look like? So let's say, because from my study in neuroscience and the mind, biology, and even our ancestral connections to the nervous system, there's this whole vagal nerve theory of the dorsal and vagal nervous systems that we have in common with lizards, with fish, and with birds, and with other animals. Is
Mm.
we have these older parts of our brain, the hindbrain and the midbrain, which is more mammalian, and then the frontal brain, which is the newest part of our nervous system as humans. And so learning to kind of put a language to that and making a structure so that it's almost giving like permission for you to acknowledge, okay, I am feeling something, and what am I feeling? And so how would that look like for somebody who's noticing themselves being triggered at the moment? And then what would you suggest for them to engage with? To what would be like the first step that you would do for yourself?
Yeah. Well, the first step clearly is awareness. Just like you said, it's awareness. It's being aware that you're even feeling something in the first place, because a lot of times we have no idea. So first step is awareness. Always. You can't do anything until you're aware. Second step is acceptance, which doesn't sound like a big deal. It is. It's a huge deal because a lot of times, especially with our judgments and we're used to pushing stuff away and I don't want it and I blah, 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 I don't feel that. I don't, and we actually lie to ourselves. Be honest with yourself and accept I'm feeling what I'm feeling and I just feeling what I'm feeling. So awareness of that you're feeling, awareness of what you're feeling and accepting those are first two steps. Then once you decide, once you're aware and you accept it, then and only then can you do something about it. What you can do something with it or not do something with it, which is another big deal, is to have a big emotion and not do anything with it on purpose.
Mm.
I'm not going to hit him back. I'm not going to scream.
So an appropriate
So
choice could
awareness,
be
acceptance,
inaction.
action. Yep. It's
So in
awareness, acceptance, action, or no action. I saw a documentary on prisoners and the therapists were working with these guys that were in jail forever, and they were saying, "How long did your crime take you to make? Do you like you shot somebody or you robbed the store or whatever?" And they were like, "Okay, maybe 30 seconds." That actually took to do the crime. How long are you paying for it?
Mm.
30 years? Ouch, right?
Right.
So awareness,
Mm.
acceptance, and sometimes no action is a really good idea. But the
Mm.
cool part is that once you're aware and you accept, and then you decide to take the action or you decide not to take the action, you are in charge. You're in charge of yourself. That's one of my big things. I'm going to say it 8,000 times.
You are in charge of
Emotional
you. That's right.
responsibility. I'm in charge of my thoughts. I'm in charge of my feelings, and I'm damn in charge of my actions, every single one of them. So that puts you in charge of your life. That puts you in control of your life, gives you the power. I call it POWA to give you the power to manage yourself.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So take emotional responsibility. It's a kind of the tipping point between whether you're going to do good or not do good. Be a whiner,
Mm.
blamer, victim, not good.
The victim mentality, right? Of
Yep. They
being
did it to me. You made me
right.
angry. You hurt my feelings. No, they didn't. They did what they did. They said what they said. The way you took it, that's what made you angry. That's what made hurt your
So that
feelings, not what they
control,
did. Yep. I did that. And I want to know that I want to be in control of me. I want to know that I did it. And because then and only then can I change. I want to take responsibility. It's tough sometimes, but it's true and it's real and
yeah.
it's very freeing.
I really like how you put it as well sometimes in that permission to feel, right? So you're giving yourself
Permission to
permission,
feel.
giving others permission to feel, right? Yes, definitely.
That's the next step,
And not
actually. That's
one of the actions.
But awareness first, like you were saying, you got to be aware of yourself first. So every once in a while, just stop and
Uh-huh.
go, what am I feeling
Right.
right now? See if you can name it. I call it name it to tame it. What am I feeling right now? What is that
Nice.
called? Is this
Mm-hmm.
embarrassment? Is
Mm-hmm.
this fear? Is
Mm-hmm.
this anger? And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people get them mixed up. And a lot of people, especially guys, get especially fear and anger.
Mm.
No, and it's like, wait, there's fear
Yeah.
underneath there. Check it out.
Oh, there's a
So that
lot
kind
to
of thing.
talk
So
about
being
right
able
there.
to
That
identify.
division. Uh-huh.
Yep, it's huge. So name it to tame it. Try it, and then give yourself some permission that it's okay. It's okay. Whatever I'm feeling, you don't have to like it, and you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay there, but you do at least give yourself like, oh yeah, that's yeah, yeah. And be honest with yourself.
Whatever emotion we're feeling, if we can just sit with it for 30 seconds straight,
There you
just
go.
like really enter into it and just feel it. 30 seconds when you're feeling a certain intense emotion is not easy, right?
Uh,
So what we're talking about are
It's
very simple tactics, very simple tools that
but
are simple but not always
easy.
easily actionable, right? And so
Exactly.
with that,
Exactly.
I also want to bridge into what tools are available to feel it and name it to feel it. So before that is awareness, right? And so to get to awareness, something I would add is a tool, our breath, our very own breath. In one sense, I
Okay.
like to say that our breath is our closest friend because it's whom we knew from the very beginning of our life, right? What happened when we came out of that wound? We took that breath. We took that
Hmm.
first inhalation. And so that's going to be there until our last breath, right? And so I really love breath work as a tool for self awareness. How to utilize box breathing, for example. I'm just going to give this really practical example. It's becoming more and more famous in many circles. And that's just a very simple idea of counting to 4 while you breathe in and then hold it for 4 and then exhaling for 4. and then holding for
Oh,
4,
yeah.
and then inhaling for 4. So it creates like this box kind of figure, right? And
Mm,
in doing so, you calm your mind, you calm the nervous system, you allow yourself to kind of become centered. And the very
mm,
first key is awareness, right? So that's one very practical tip already, is just becoming aware of our breath. And as far as other techniques of breath work go, it's also moving towards meditation and towards regulation and interoception. This word I love, is becoming aware of our inside, like our literal inside, like our heartbeat, our blood pressure,
mm.
our digestion, our how we feeling, hot or cold? Are we feeling, heavy, light? So this interoception is important aspect. I think the first level of awareness is just like literally, what am I feeling? Like, are my hands clammy? Are they dry? Am I
Mhm.
feeling like cold, hot, pressure, loose,
Heart's
tingling?
stamped up, gritting your
Hmm.
teeth,
Hmm.
heart beating too
And so,
fast or
so adding
faster.
adding a language to it, right? Adding words, I think, is in one sense a very simple step, but then it's also a very important one, right? So from
Absolutely.
going going
Super
from
important.
going from giving yourself from awareness to giving yourself permission to using language, what's then something that you can share with what you've been able
Well,
to
the
talk?
three steps are awareness, acceptance, action. More specifically, I like the way put it is awareness is name it to tame it. So be able to identify what's going on for you. Second is acceptance, and I call that spin it to win it. I call it spin it to win it, which means that you're in charge of you, and if you don't like it, you can change it. And most people don't know that. They think other people made us
Mm,
this way, and I'm stuck with them. And there's
mhm.
this mystery of what I don't know what I feel. No,
Yeah,
you're in charge of them and you can change them. You can adjust them if you don't like them. You can do that. So name it to tame it, spin it to win it. And then, like you said, the last one is feel it to heal it. Feel it to heal it, which is just like you said,
feel it
with
to heal it.
30 seconds, if you let yourself feel something, actually feel it. It's called venting versus complaining, for example, is that you allow yourself to feel what your body's actually feeling because most of the time we don't. We avoid it, and you can't go around doing that all the time. But you can
Mm.
take when your feelings get big, just let yourself cry for a minute, for example. When you need to cry, let yourself cry. Or if you need to scream, let yourself scream. Just
Oh, that's a big
just
one.
and if you're super scared, just kind of curl up in a ball for a few minutes and let your body feel that fear and just shake for just a little bit and then pull yourself
Mhm.
back out of it. If you can let your body feel, your body will thank you for it first off.
Mm. Yes.
Second, it won't build up over time like they do and cause. Now there's study after study showing that if you don't deal with your emotions, your body is not going
Right.
to be happy. There's going to cause some
No.
serious
No.
ailments
It's going to be
inside of you. So
internalized.
physical, your
Correct.
emotions go
Yes.
physical if you don't deal with them.
Yes. Yes.
Then you can release it. So I say, let it flow and then let it go, or get in, get out, get it out, and then get on. So feel it to heal
Nice.
it. I like
Nice.
that.
I love it. Nice. Nice. I love that. What you say to yourself. So there's self-talk, right? And so I'm very
Yes,
big
yes.
on suggestions, right? So as a hypnotherapist, there are two tools that I utilize with the people that I work with. And that is the state of hypnosis, which is called an altered state of mind, in which one is heightened awareness. So you don't lose consciousness. And that's one misconception about hypnosis. You get
Mm,
absorbed, focused, and you get more access to your subconscious mind. The other tool is suggestions or words. And so the words that you tell yourself, or that somebody who's trained in hypnosis or hypnotherapy, that help you reprogram that old voice that was trained when one was growing up for whatever reason, and exposed to
mm,
being expressed in that certain way. So the very words that we use to explain our experience, and we have the power to change that, right? That's something already that's quite an eye opener for a lot of people. It's like you have the ability to change your own self talk. And my
yeah.
big angle is how to help make the mind your friend. It's been very much shown in many studies that we remember 5 negative things for every positive thing. So if we can think about biologically, our ancestors in the past have had to be aware of so many dangers around them. So being aware of dangers was an advantage. And so that
Yeah,
biologically,
still
you
is.
just got to remember that we are disposed to negative thoughts and negative perspectives. And so
Yeah.
we want to consciously bring up, and for every one thing that we have positive, we know there's going to be 5 negative things there. And so we're going to try to give 4 more positive thoughts or ideas in our own self-talk. So that's something to think about in terms of like, well, why is it that I'm feeling this way or going that way into negative thoughts? And it's just the human nature of doing that. So you just got to give yourself the permission to talk to yourself more positively. Is basically
Mm.
what I want to emphasize.
Very true.
So those
Yep.
are some of the subject matters that we're going to be talking about and sharing more in this podcast. We're going to start wrapping this up, and this is just our intro. This is the beginning of it. We're going to be having more specific themes to talk about and the tools to engage with them. We're going to have guests, like I said as well, that will be engaging with different tools that we can help share with our audience. We're going to start closing this up here. If there's anything you want to say before we wrap it up, that you could share with us.
Yeah. Just emotions matter. They're
Mm,
yours. The emotional ownership, emotional responsibility. Give yourself permission to feel, and then go inside and discover, uncover, recover. We call it with EQ, is learn about yourself.
nice, good stuff.
You can't just learn about your emotions on the internet or by reading a book, even AI. You got to go inside and find out about you and what you're actually feeling. You got to experience it. And sometimes it's uncomfortable and sometimes it's going to feel yucky, but you will learn about you and how you work and how you don't work. And you'll be able to manage you so much better if you understand and accept and be able to work with your emotions. So that's what I suggest. Make emotions your friend. Like you said, your mind your
Okay.
friend, your breath is your
Yes.
friend. Make emotions your friend
Yes.
as well.
Yes, exactly. And something I want to emphasize is that you have the ability to give yourself permission to express those things, and that your own self-talk
Hmm.
really, really matters. There's many ways we receive suggestions into our subconscious mind, and one of them is just repetition. And so, just as we know how advertisements work very well, it's just they repeat certain images, certain symbols, certain phrases over and over, and they get embedded in our subconscious mind. So, using those same principles of self-hypnosis is what I teach. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It's not something that I do to someone, it's something that I do with someone. So, it's something that you can learn to incorporate in your life, and it's a matter of how to formulate those ideas, those suggestions too. So it has to be positive, it has to be present tense, and it has to be simple verbiage. Because the subconscious mind works more in the realm of the imagination, more in the realm of symbols and ideas and feelings. And so if we can get into tapping into that state of our of mind, then we can create powerful transformative change um, with the power of our own words and being in that state of awareness.
Cool.
So
I
we'll
look
wrap it
forward
up
to learning
here,
more
and
about
we'll.
hypnosis from you. So that's cool.
You got it, my friend.
Cool.
Yes, I
Be
will
fun.
go breaking down the steps as to how to formulate a suggestion, how to write it, and then how to record it
Mm.
for yourself, and then repeat it in your
Oh,
sleep, and this and that. And so these are different methodologies and
nice.
ways of going about it. And so we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you very much for coming on board to this Pathway to Peace podcast. So, again, my name is Joshua Marcos Munoz, and I'm here with Matt Perlstein, and we will be back for another one here soon. Thank you.
Bye, all. See you soon. Make your emotions matter.
Recording stopped.